Hi, I'm Scott Flowers with Cloud Ninjas. Today we're here to talk about the Supermicro Hyper A+ AS-1114S-WTRT. Let's get going. Hey, thanks for stopping by today to learn a little bit more about the Supermicro AS-1114S-WTRT. Do us a favor, find anything that helps you in this video, click that like and smash that subscribe. All right, let's hop in. This video is going to be specifically dedicated to the server as a whole, and we're going to cover everything from CPUs to RAM to drives to network cards to RAID to supported operating system. We're going to go over everything. So let's go ahead and start with what I think is kind of the most important feature, and that is the CPU. And the CPU is generally what kind of drives people to whatever chassis that they're looking for. That's really why I like to start with it. So this has one CPU socket. It's an SP3, which means it takes AMD Rome or Milan. So if you're not familiar with AMD Rome and Milan, Rome is the 7002 series and Milan is the 7003 series. So when you see a part number that says 7, XX, let's say 2, that's going to be in the Rome, and 7XX3, whatever it might be, that'll be in the Milan. So the last number, or the last number is going to tell you if it's, Rome, Milan, Genoa, etc., etc. So that being said, I'm a big fan of the Milan series as a whole. You can get a great system with 64 cores inside of it and not break the bank. Right now, Milans are finally starting to come actually out onto the market in the used world. Not a ton of them, but they're starting to sprinkle out a little bit, and so Milans are essentially becoming better and better deals. So it's something that you can get for cheaper and cheaper nowadays. So if it's something that you're looking for, hey, do us a favor and email us at sales@cloudninjas.com. That's sales@cloudninjas.com. We'd love the opportunity to quote you and your data center. And people ask us all the time, hey, what proc do you recommend? And really it depends on your build. And so what we like to do is we break it down into 3 different categories. We have our low end, our value, and our high end. And really it's exactly as it says. The low end is going to be very budget friendly. It's going to be lower specs, but it's going to be cheap procs that don't cost a lot of money. The value is going to be a nice sweet spot where you still get good processors, good specs, but they're going to still be very budget friendly. More expensive than the low end, but not going to break the bank. High end is just going to be really your top of the line stuff. And even one of the high ends I really want to point out, and that's going to be the 7C13, and that's a 64 core proc. That's a special one that we have in stock that we can get for much, much cheaper than a lot of the other 64 cores. So that's one that I do want to highlight as one of the high-end ones. But we have a chart up that you can see, and it's going to break down several good options, but really there's a ton of good options within the Milan series as a whole. These are just a few that we're highlighting to showcase to you. All right, let's talk about memory. There are 8 DIMM slots inside. It takes DDR4 memory. There's a number of different speeds you can use. You can go as low as 2133, 2400, 2666, 2933, or all the way up to 3200, which will be the top of the line speed. I will note that you really need to check your CPU. Not every CPU supports every speed, so there's no point in spending extra money on a 3200 speed module if your CPU, for instance, only supports 2066. So just something to note, and maybe check your CPU first. And if you're not sure, again, you can just email our team and we can definitely help you to pick the right speed. What are the different sizes you can use? You can go as low as a 4 gig, an 8 gig, a 16 gig, a 32 gig, a 64 gig, 128 gig, or all the way up to 256 gigabytes. What are the different types of modules you can use? Well, you can use ECC registered, known as an RDIMM, or load reduced, known as an LRDIMM. Both of them can max out at 256 gigabytes per DIMM, which means you can max out at 2 terabytes using 8 256 gig DIMMs at 3200 speed. So yes, you can max out all the way to 2 terabytes. Let's talk storage. There are 10 bays in the front, so there's 10 hard drive bays in the front. They're going to be 2.5-inch small form factor. They're going to be originally set up for SAS and SATA without NVMe support. Now there is another chassis where you can get NVMe support. It's going to be for 2 of the bays, so it'll be 8 bays are SAS and SATA, and 2 bays are NVMe. So those will be your 2 options. Again, so 10 that are SATA SAS, and then 8 that are SATA SAS and 2 are NVMe. So those are your choices. And I will note that for the second option with the NVMe, you do have to have additional cabling in order to make that happen. So it's not just natively in there. So you do need to make sure you order it in advance. It's not just an easy upgrade by any means. So I just want to point it out there. You want to definitely do that on the front end if that's something that you want. All right, so let's talk about the interfaces that are possible, the different speeds for those, and the different sizes, so you can have a nice comparison to figure out, hey, what's the best drive to put in there? So there are 5 types of drives that you can use. There's going to be a SATA hard drive, a SAS hard drive, a SATA solid state drive, a SAS solid state drive, and an NVMe solid-state drive. Another thing to note is that with the SAS drives, you do have to have a RAID controller. They're not native to be able to work without a RAID controller. So SATA is honestly probably the easiest and most compatible. At least a SATA SSD is the way I would go, but that's not necessarily the fastest, so we'll get into everything. So what are the different speeds? Well, when you go back to that SATA hard drive, you're going to get 7.2K RPM. So it's going to be the slowest option of all of them. When you go to a SAS hard drive, you can still get 7.2K or 10K or 15K. So you're going to have faster speed, but that's 15K revolutions per minute. Still not as fast as a solid state drive. So now if you go to a SATA solid state drive, you're going to get 6 gigabit per second. With SAS, you're going to get 12. And with NVMe, you're going to get 16, so NVMe will be the fastest. So let's talk about the sizes. For a SATA solid-state drive, you get 7.68 TBs is going to be your max, 15.36 for SAS solid-state drive, and 15.36 for NVMe solid-state. So NVMe and SAS are going to be your highest scalability on the solid-state side, solid-state drive side. And with the 2.5-inch hard drives, it's super womp here. You got 2 terabytes max for a SATA hard drive and 2.4 for a SAS. So, I mean, really, yeah, you get what you get, right? I'm a big fan of solid-state drives. We'll just say that. So on that note, there's 2 M.2 slots that are going to be 22.110 or 2280. There's also going to be 2 PCIe 4.0 by 16 slots that are going to be full height, full length. And there's also going to be 1 PCIe 4.0 by 16 that's going to be your low profile. So those are going to be a total of 3 PCIe slots. There's also 1 dedicated RJ45 1 gigabit BMC LAN port and 2 RJ45 10 gigabit network ports as well. There's definitely several options you can use on the network card side. All right, let's talk about RAID. And no, I'm not talking about Clash of Clans for my Clash of Clans fans. All right, so we'll put up a quick little RAID chart here, and this is just going to show you a few of the approved options, and I am sure there are plenty of other options that'll work as well. If there's something that you're a fan favorite of, hey, drop a comment down below. I'm sure the other users will like to hear about it, but this is just an approved chart on Supermicro's website of, you know, the approved RAID controllers. That's pretty simple. All right, that brings us to network cards. So one thing that's nice for the network card side is there's 2 built-in 10 gigabit RJ45s. It's actually really helpful because a lot of times you only get 1 gigabit, and that does help you to prevent you from having to use one of the PCIe slots in case you want to use it for something else, which most likely you're probably not using all the PCIe slots and you just throw in another network card. But I did want to point out there are no OCP slots, there are no AIOM slots, there are no micro LP slots. You are definitely going to use the built-in 2 10 gigabits, or you need to use one of the PCIe slots. And again, there are 3 PCIe slots that we talked about earlier, but those are going to be the way that you're going to be able to actually get a network card inside. So let's talk about what types of network cards there are. So first off, let's talk about the interfaces. So on the interface side, you can use an RJ45, an SFP, an SFP Plus, SFP28, QSFP28, or a QSFP56. Those are going to be your different options. As far as the speed, you can go as low as a 1 gigabit, a 10, a 25, a 40, or all the way up to 100. Yes, you can go all the way up to 100. And if you've tried 200 at home, do us a favor, drop a comment down below. We haven't had the ability to try it with 200 yet, because every time that they come in, we're moving them out so fast. I would love to hear if you've used a 200 gig inside. So, all right, let's talk power supplies. There are 2 hot swap redundant 500 watt power supplies. They're going to be 100 volt to 240 volt, so you can use them at a number of different data centers as far as the connection, but you're going to have dual hot swap power supplies. All right, let's talk about supported operating systems. We'll go ahead and throw up a chart right now, but you're going to have to start with Windows Server 2016, 2019, 2022. You're going to have Red Hat. You're going to have Ubuntu. You're going to have SUSE. You're going to have Rocky Linux, Fedora Linux. There's a ton of great options. And VMware, I don't know, can we still talk about them anymore? God, they've fallen off the map. But VMware does work as well. So there's a lot of different options as a whole that you can use. And hey, if there's anything else you like, drop a comment down below. Hey, if you made it this far, do us a favor, click that like, smash that subscribe, and if you're looking for any custom built servers, whether that's Supermicro, Zeus, ASRock, Tyan, Gigabyte, so on and so forth, we'd love the opportunity to earn your data center, your home labs business. We do a ton of AMD CPUs, not just Milan, like I've mentioned several times now, Genoa, Turin. If you need older Rome, if you need Naples, whatever you're looking for, we stock a ton of different options, and again, we would love the opportunity to earn your business. Please email us at sales@cloudengines.com. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Take care.